Forget motivation. Forget vision boards. There is a terrifying level of discipline that makes people look at you and wonder if you're even human. It's the consistency of John, the guy who never quits, the one who wakes up at 4 a.m., hits the gym, and executes his plan flawlessly, while everyone else folds by the third week. You look at someone like John and you think, that's not normal. But what if I told you there is an ancient system, forged by Zen monks in the freezing temples of Japan, designed to produce exactly this kind of frightening, unstoppable consistency? They call it Guji, the practice that perpetuates itself. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 3 hidden rules of Guji. But here's the warning. This system requires you to kill a part of yourself you never knew existed. Most people aren't ready for that. If you're ready to become unstoppable, drop a Guji in the comments right now to confirm you're serious. Chapter 2. The Programmer's Fatal Flaw. Now, let's talk about John. John was a high-level programmer, smart, successful career, the whole package. Except for one fatal flaw, he was a serial quitter. Every attempt to build discipline died a quick, miserable death. Gym? 2 months gone. Meditation? 1 week, total silence. Reading? He'd buy the book, read 3 pages, and the cover collected dust. The pattern was almost scientific. Monday, maximum motivation. Wednesday, the first mental negotiation. Friday, total surrender. Sunday, pleading promises for next week. John tried every trick in the book, the habit tracking apps, the accountability partners, the reward system. None of it worked. Why? Because he was fighting a war against the one thing he couldn't see, the very architecture of his own brain. He was stuck in this loop, just like you, until the day he stumbled upon the secret. The reason why Zen monks can meditate for 800 years straight without missing a single morning. And trust me, it's not willpower. Willpower is the beginner's tool. This is something much deeper, much more frightening. The monks figured out that to achieve Guji, to become the practice itself, you have to understand the secret killer of all consistency. Chapter 3. Gyoji, the irreversible commitment. To understand the power of Guji, you need to understand the monk's first secret, Gyoji. Literally, it means continuous practice without gaps. And when I say without gaps, I mean without gaps since the year 1200 AD. Think about that. For 800 years, a bell rings at Ehai Temple at 3:30 a.m. Not 3:25, not 3:35, exactly 3:30 a.m. And every single monk gets up. You want to know what never happens in that temple? No monk lies in bed thinking, I'm going to skip today. The question simply does not exist. Why? Because they understand the single most important principle of consistency. Your brain categorizes every commitment into one of 2 boxes, reversible or irreversible. A reversible commitment is a mental negotiation. I'll try to go to the gym. An irreversible commitment simply happens. I am a person who goes to the gym. When a monk takes their vows, they are not promising to try to meditate. They are changing their identity. The negotiation ends. And here's where science meets the ancient practice. A Harvard neuroscientist studying habits confirmed that when you make a behavior public, your primitive brain interprets failure as a survival threat. Our ancestors who lost status in the tribe died. Your brain still works that way. This is exactly what John finally understood. He stopped making private, reversible promises. He started making public declarations. He wrote on paper, I am a person who meditates 20 minutes every day at 5 a.m. for 90 consecutive days. He signed it. He posted it on social media. He told his coworkers. His girlfriend said, You're being too dramatic. His coworkers laughed. Man, you're trying too hard. Perfect. Every person he knew became fuel for the fire. The alarm went off at 5 a.m. on day 3. The mind immediately started its routine. You're exhausted. This isn't healthy. One day won't make a difference. But something fundamental had changed. The thought of posting online that he'd failed after 3 days. The shame of having to look his girlfriend in the face and admit he was a quitter again. The public declaration had made giving up more painful than continuing. He was unstoppable. But here is where the real, unexpected problem began. Chapter 4. The Internal War and the Fixed Hour. Even with the immense pressure of the public declaration, John was still fighting an internal war every single morning. His reputation was on the line, but his biology didn't care about his Twitter feed. His body just wanted to sleep. The Gyoji system ended the mental negotiation, but he was still battling his own exhaustion. That is when he discovered the monk's second principle, non-negotiable hours. Think about it. Every day you waste a massive amount of mental fuel, glucose, on the same stupid question. When will I do this? Now? After breakfast? Tonight? You're wasting energy deciding when to drive instead of actually driving. John chose 5 a.m., not because he was some disciplined morning warrior who loved watching the sunrise. He chose 5 a.m. because the world was asleep. No messages, no emails, no distractions, no excuses. The time wasn't about optimization, it was about elimination. Eliminating every single possible reason to do it later. The first week was hell. Your body is a machine that runs on patterns, and when you force it to build a new one, it resists. That's normal. But in the second week, something strange happened. John started waking up 2 minutes before his alarm. His body was already preparing for what awaited it. By day 14, the alarm rang, and his feet hit the floor before his conscious mind even engaged. No thought, no decision, just movement. Here's the secret of the fixed hour. It's not about finding the perfect schedule. It's about removing time as a variable. When the schedule is fixed, your brain can't argue with the constant. But John discovered a new loophole. His 5 a.m. time was fixed, but what he did during that time changed every day. Meditation one morning, reading another, sometimes just a few push-ups. His brain had found a new negotiating point. Instead of arguing about when, it started arguing about what. The 20 minutes at 5 a.m. was reliable, but the practice itself was chaos. He had solved the when, but not the what. And this is where the teachings of the Zen master Dogen become controversial, because they require you to do exactly the same thing every single day until your mind completely surrenders. Chapter 5. The Single Way, Killing the Negotiator. Most people think variety keeps their habits interesting. They are dead wrong. Variety is where consistency goes to die. Every time you change the practice, your brain is forced to make micro decisions. Push-ups or burpees? Which book? How long? Every small decision is a crack where your old patterns leak back in. This is the monk's final brutal rule. Non-negotiable content. John completely locked everything down. 20 push-ups, 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of reading. Same order, same timer, same exact thing. This became his personal Ango period. 90 days of identical, boring practice. His friends called him robotic. His girlfriend said he was getting annoying, and John realized annoying was the point. In the third week, his mind screamed for variety. This is stupid. You're not a robot. You'll burn out. But by week 6, something broke. Not his discipline, his resistance. The voice of negotiation grew quieter. John was halfway through his push-ups before he even consciously realized he'd started. The practice was now taking care of itself. This is what Guji is about. Repetition until willpower is no longer needed. An MIT researcher who studied the automatization of behaviors for 12 years explains the science. When you repeat an action in the same context for approximately 66 days, the basal ganglia of the brain take over. The behavior becomes automatic. You are no longer deciding to do it. You are simply doing it. Then came the real test. Day 35. John caught the flu. Day 40. He was traveling for work. This is where the old pattern kicks in. Sick day equals rest day. Travel equals exception. This is where you gave up before. Everyone gives up here because perfect practice requires perfect conditions, and perfect conditions do not exist. But Dogen, the Zen master, wrote that practice must continue without even a moment of gap, because in that gap, all your old lazy patterns rush back in. What saved John when everything went wrong was realizing this. Practice doesn't require perfection. It requires continuity. So, how do you become like John? You apply the 3 rules of Guji. Gyoji, irreversible commitment. Make your goal public. Make failure more painful than continuing. Non-negotiable hours. Eliminate the when. Fix the time so your brain has nothing to negotiate with. Non-negotiable content. Eliminate the what. Do the same boring thing every day until your basal ganglia takes over. You don't need motivation. You need a system that forces your mind to surrender. Chapter 6. Continuity over perfection, the flow state. Let's be clear. The all-or-nothing lie has killed more consistency than laziness ever could. You tell yourself, if I can't do the full 20 minutes, why do anything? If I can't do a perfect set of push-ups, I'll just wait until tomorrow. This thinking creates gaps, and gaps are where your old, weak self crawls back in. Look at elite athletes. They have rest days, but those days are intentional, strategic, and planned. They are progress. They allow the athlete to train harder tomorrow. When you skip because you feel lazy or tired, that is not rest, that is retreat. Think of a river. During a drought, it might be a trickle, but it never stops flowing. The moment it stops, it is no longer a river. It's just a memory of where the water used to be. Your practice is the same. The moment you create a gap, you are no longer practicing. You are someone who used to practice. John's travel day arrived on day 40. 4 a.m. airport security. Meetings all day. No hotel gym. The old John would have quit, but the new John, fueled by Guji, understood continuity. He did push-ups in the airport bathroom. People looked at him like he'd lost his mind. Great. He meditated in the Uber. He read on the plane. Nothing was perfect, but everything maintained momentum toward the irreversible goal he set 90 days ago. This is the essence of Guji. Practice continuing itself. That's when people really started to notice. Co-workers said he seemed different. Friends called him obsessive. Someone actually said his discipline was not healthy. When you hear those words, you know you are on the right track. Normal people get normal results. You are not trying to be normal. You are trying to be unbreakable. But John discovered one final truth. The unexpected obstacles you cannot plan for, because you don't even know they exist. Chapter 7. The Unstoppable System. Pre-Solutions. You can follow all 3 rules of Guji, but consistency always dies when life gets messy. Your child gets sick. Your car breaks down. Your boss keeps you late. These are consistency killers because you haven't pre-decided how to handle them. When an unexpected obstacle appears, you have to make a decision under stress. And in that moment of chaos, you will always choose the path of least resistance. The obstacle wins. How have Zen monasteries operated for centuries without missing a single day of practice? Through earthquakes, wars, and famine. They don't make decisions when chaos strikes. The answer already exists. When the meditation hall floods, they go to the dining hall. When the dining hall catches fire, they sit in the courtyard. There is no meeting, no discussion, no negotiation. The bell rings. The response is automatic. John took this to heart. He wrote down every single obstacle that had ever broken his consistency, and he pre-solved each one. Plan for rain? Push-ups in the garage. Guests staying over? Silent workout in the bathroom. Hangover, which shouldn't happen, but if it does, 2 push-ups, 1 minute of meditation, 1 page of reading. Every single scenario had its predetermined response. When X happens, I do Y. No thinking, no negotiating, just execution. A Yale University behavioral psychologist confirmed that when you pre-decide your actions, you remove decision fatigue from the critical moment. Your prefrontal cortex remains intact to execute rather than decide. The power of this system is that your brain knows that no matter what happens tomorrow, the practice continues. This absolute certainty changes your entire nervous system. By day 70, John's practice had become completely automatic. He would wake up and sometimes not even remember doing the push-ups. His body simply moved through the sequence like a programmed machine. His girlfriend's mother visited for a week. He did push-ups in the bathroom at 5 a.m. The practice continued because the answers were already written. On the 90th day, he completed his personal Ango, 3 months of uninterrupted, guaranteed practice. But something deeper had happened. He was no longer the same person. His friends literally told him, "Your consistency is scary." His response was perfect. Great. Final chapter, the unbreakable identity. When your discipline makes other people uncomfortable, you finally found the right level. Your existence proves that everything they call impossible is actually just uncomfortable. That's why they'll call you obsessive. They'll say you need balance. They need you to slow down so they can feel better about standing still. But you're not doing it for them. You're doing it because you've discovered the ultimate secret of Guji. Consistency isn't about doing something every day. It's about becoming someone who can't do it any other way. When you implement this system, the public declaration, the fixed schedule, the seamless practice, the pre-resolved answers, you're not just creating habits. You are reshaping your entire identity. You stop being someone who tries. You become someone who simply is. And when that transformation is complete, when people look at John and think, "How does he do that?" the answer will be simple. He doesn't do it. He is it. The question remains, are you ready for this level of transformation? This is not about discipline. This is about death and rebirth. The death of your inconsistent self, the birth of your unbreakable self. The Guji system won't make you a better person. It will make you a different person. Someone others will look at and think, "That's not normal." And when you hear those words, you will know you have finally gotten where you want to be. If this video truly changed your perspective on discipline, then you know what to do. The consistency that scares others is the only consistency worth having. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next transformation video. Tell me in the comments right now, what is the irreversible public declaration you are making today? Use the Guji system to lock down that one habit. Thank you very much for your attention. I'll see you in the next video.